The snowdrops are nothing short of phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They're even up on the bank towards the riding school. They are just incredible this year. It's just a carpet. It's literally just a carpet. Look at these down here. Look at this. Look at it. It's just incredible. Literally just the most incredible sight. It's brilliant. It just means spring is on its way. The last year they had a bit of a clear out and I thought that the snowdrops were going to be really affected because we didn't get many last year. This year it's gone crazy and I need to go because there is fern and I need to catch Maggie. Right, should we get on with the video now? Hello everybody, welcome back. It's lovely to have you here with me today. My name is Judy, I am running So and So, and if you're new here, it's wonderful to have you here. If you have been with me for a while, it's lovely to welcome you back. And if you've not subscribed and you'd like to, there's a little link somewhere down there. If you just give it a click, you can join me on this lovely journey where I just review basically sewing, running. So yes, I'm in my local woods. I'm just coming out for a dog walk before I settle down and do some more sewing. I had the most fantastic day yesterday. I went to Izzosew Sewing Social in Sheffield. And I'm just going to insert just the tiniest bit of footage that I took because, to tell you the truth, I spent the whole day sewing, ironing. I did some unpicking because I did do some patchwork wrong, and just talking to everybody, and it was the most wonderful day. I'll see you in a second. So at the end of the day here, because the afternoon tea has gone away, Izzy and Sophie are discussing tactics for the next social. Usually we have the afternoon tea made over here. We have the patterns now currently available from Izzosew here. So we have the ribbon and ruffle dress, the Raglan jumpsuit and the Bijasson dress. Hints of what's available. And then we have the most fantastic. So just a huge space. And then back through here. So there we go. I'm back from my wonderful dog walk. It was really, really uplifting because when I was out, you won't have realised it, but the sun was trying to break through. And we've had so much grey here in the UK. I really am desperate for some sunshine. In fact, I must tell you this, but on Friday at school, we got to about 2 o'clock and we were busy. The kids were inside just tidying up, ready to go outside. And suddenly there was a bright glow across the sky and I went, wait, guys, look outside. There's blue sky and sunshine, and we all cheered. Because we are that desperate to see some sunshine. It's just been one of those winters where everything has just lingered and lingered and lingered and lingered, and then it's gone away and come back again. And it seems that no matter who you watch, everybody seems to be suffering from a bug. So I'm going to pass my apologies on for sounding nasally. But there again, what's new? What is new? I always sound nasally. Anyhow, let's crack on. So yesterday I had the most fantastic time at Izzosew, and I thought I'd show you, and sorry to use my fingers, I would show you what I got up to. You saw a little bit there of me filming what it was that I was doing, but I haven't quite finished what I'm doing, so I thought I'd finish it with you this afternoon. And then what my plan is this week is, whether this works or not, is that I will review my sewing week, but it might be sort of like tea time to tea time. That might be the day. That's a minor detail. Let's get on with the sewing. So the first thing that I did wrong, okay, and we must talk about the things that go wrong as well as the things that go right. You can see all my lovely files down here. Can you see all my lovely files? Let me just tip you down. So look, let's see if I can focus you in. Hold on, can you see? Look. This is the block of the month folder, and that's where I'm going first. This is the quilt block a week. And this, just here, I'm going to bring into view. This is the scraps. So every time I cut scraps off, or I cut something that I shouldn't cut, which I did just there, and there was a big scrap there, what I've done is, rather than throw them out, I've put them in this bag. Now, ultimately, when I get to the end of the year, if I don't want to use them, I can pass them to Tim, who is that way, and Tim works for Tailors of Harrogate, who are Tailors Tea. So they do Yorkshire tea, and they are the famous brand Betty's, and they have the charity arm is the Cone Exchange. So I can pass it all over to the Cone Exchange, so I know it won't go to waste. But I will say it was rather good that I actually held on to something, because look at this. I was sewing the curved flying geese blocks, which I have got a whole pile here ready to sew down with you in a minute. I'm sewing them together, and look, don't they look amazing? And okay, I'm going to really fess up here, folks. I'll come to the fess up, the big fess up, in a minute. But I was too short. I really do not know how I was too short, but guess what? In my scrap pile, I had this. Now, I need to make certain that they're in the wrong book. It is flying geese, and I need 16, and so I did 14 3.5 inch squares, and this strip is 3.5 inches wide, so I just need to slice off one square at 3.5 inches. So when I go to sewing socials, like a lot of people, I have everything small. So I've got my caddy here. It's a lovely Adam. Just think what would happen if you took those caddies to QuiltCon. Oh, I am so jealous. Adam is going to QuiltCon. It's one of those things, it's on my bucket list. But seeing as it's only 3 years, 8 months and about 14 days till I retire, maybe I can go to QuiltCon then. Yes, that's just one of those things. So let's slide off the bit that I didn't. And then this, well, this lovely little, this is a mini rotary cutter. And I got this in, you can get them in all the craft shops. But I will tell you, I bought this one in Hobby Lobby, which is one of the big brands in the States, because they had them at like 50% off. And I thought, it'll go in my case, it'll go through customs. So I bought that, and I did buy some blades for it, and it has been so useful because it just fits like that, look, in there. And the lovely Lorianne gave me this little tiny wheel, cutting board, chopping board. Spins around, but guess what? Fits in my caddy. So I can take quilting stuff to do. Ooh, see that next to me. So let me show you how this curved flying geese works. Shall I fess up the big problem first? Shall I fess up? You'll like this. Big fess up this. They should have been the other way around. That should be cream and that should be blue. I read the pattern wrong. We all do it, and I thought, oh, I don't believe I've done that. So I thought, you know what? I'm actually going to do it that way around. I love it. I mean, it's just brilliant. I think it pops. I think having the blue on the background and the white makes the white sort of stand out and jump out at you. So I'm actually really pleased. But I wanted to show you guys how I did the curved flying geese, because actually it was really, I had to spend a long time sort of figuring it out. But once I'd figured it out, Maggie is outside and dog patrol. She goes out the dog flap, down the garden to the gate. sniffs. If she hears anybody, they're told to back off. Dear me. Dear me, dear me, dear me. Dogs. Now then, let's have a little look. I'm going to just keep the camera tipped down so you can see what it is that I am doing. So you need the 2 3.5-inch squares. And then you had a, excuse me looking at the book. Yeah, you needed 2 3.5-inch squares, and then you needed a strip that was 3.5 by 6.5, which I've got here. So that strip is folded in half, like so. Now it says to finger press it, but I ended up pressing it because I was just a little bit uncertain, so I gave it an extra press. And so then with these right sides together, let me just try and zoom you in. So if anybody hasn't done block the second week of, sorry, let's come back in. If anybody hasn't, anybody who is doing the half yard sewing club block of the month and hasn't done the flying geese and has looked at them and thought, oh gosh, what's Debbie Shaw going on about? Let me simplify it, because this is how it works. You fold the rectangular piece in half, like so. The fold goes at the top, but it goes below the top of the bottom square. So you're placing it onto the right side of the bottom square. It should line up with the bottom of the square, the right side and the left side as you look at it. And then you put the other square on top, like so. Now, if you're lazy like me, you just pick it up, go to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew it from this side. And you simply sew all the way down. Now, I'm just going to say again, my stitch length is at 3.25. I always increase my stitch length. I've never sewn on a smaller stitch length. I always sew on a larger stitch length. Pull it back here, pull you back round so you can see. Open up the square, the 2 squares, and you have a little seam allowance here at the back, and you need to press that open like so. And you have a little square, a little arrow at the top, which you need to press back. Let me show you. It should look like this. Then, this is where the magic starts. You then lift it up like so. I spent a long time puzzling over this. Open it up, it's a bit like origami. And you fold it down like that and give it a little iron. Now, I iron on a very old, I'm just going to re-show everybody, if you've not seen it before, if you're new to me, this little ironing station that I've put, there you go, can you hear her barking? Little monkey. If it gets too much, I have got a very old chopping board, which I've had for absolutely yonks. And on top of it, I have got an old serviette, a cloth one, and a couple of old tea towels. Both came from Paris. So they're here to remind me of my trips to Paris. And that is what I iron on. And especially for things like patchwork, you've got that nice hard surface. Then you have to do the curved seam. And this is where it's really clever. Let's see if I can get you in a bit closer. All right. Because I'm going to have to put the iron in from this way. I can't do it any other way. You carefully fold back the seam and it will naturally go to a curve on the inside. And you iron it down, okay. Like so. Iron. Don't need to pin it at all. Don't need to pin. Don't need to use any clips. There's the first one. Can you see? And it's standing up. So run and do the other side. Do the other one, and it sits in nicely. And you iron it down. I'm going to lift off the iron, turn the iron off because I don't want to waste electricity. I'm going to spin you back around to the sewing machine. And hopefully, I pull it back a bit. There you are, just put my fingers on. So here, when you're sewing it, you need to fold it back because you don't sew it down to this blue bit. You leave the blue bit open and you sew, you pull the blue bit back like so. I'm just going to pop it into the sewing machine and start off the stitching. There we go. And you sew very slowly and steadily around the curve. Come a bit closer. I don't know if you can see it. Let's come down. You see what I'm doing in there. There you go. Hopefully you can see this. I really can't see what I'm filming very well because my focus is really on showing you what it is that I'm sewing. But slow and steady, and you will get a lovely stitch along the edge of the curve like so. This is the only bad thing about my machine, it takes a long time to turn itself off at the end. But it's not enough. That's just the machine, I'm used to it. And then you do the other side, folding back the blue bits carefully, folding it over like so. And yesterday I was working on my little tiny travel banana that I've got, which is the, if you're interested in your bananas, it's a 350 SE Cotton and Steel edition. Now I've gone too fast, I've gone slightly off there, it doesn't matter. And I am doing this quilt warts and all. When you say warts and all, I mean mistakes and all, because I want to see my progression. I want it to be an exercise book of my learning. So when if you've got children at school or grandchildren at school, or you know anybody who's been through the school system, they bring home their exercise books and you can see their progress. And obviously I know which blocks I've done on which day because I'm dating them. So if I fold it open like that now, you can see I've gone slightly off just here. So I'm actually going to try and catch that bit in again because it's actually quite a tricky bit that I've gone out on. Catch that back in. Having said I'm going to go warts and all, but I've gone right close to the edge. There we go. But I'm not going to take out the other stitching because I know I've done it twice. So you are joining the top of one block here. Let's push the quilt back. Top of one block here to the bottom of another. Now this is how I do it. I put the pin through the seam so that it meets up with the top here, can you see? And then it will go through and you have to line it up so that it goes through the seam on the other piece, like that. Can you see it's gone through the seam? And that will help you make certain that your seams are lined up when you come to take that pin out. Pin it in vertically so that it's perpendicular to your seam. So here's my seam, and here's my pin because I've just spiked myself with it. Line up everything else. The more confident you'll get, the more you'll realise you do not need to pin these. And because I've just gone to put my presser foot down because I was sewing on the other sewing machine yesterday, I'm not going to do all of these with you. And I'm just making certain that everything's lined up as I'm sewing. Quilting fabric doesn't move like viscose. It's much more stable. It's got more structure and more stability. So it has a sort of an ability to sort of adhere to each other. So if you put one piece against another, it doesn't slip. If anybody wants me to show them any more quilting things, please do shout. Maybe now's the time to show you this, because back in the late 1990s I was actually secretary to the Quilters Guild. So I actually started with just the Quilters Guild and this one here and the American badge, and I think this was an American badge, and the others I've sort of gathered over the years because it became, it was the Quilters Guild, Then it became the Quilters Guild of the British Isles, and then they changed their logo to this. And we all had to have name badges, and back in those days, we had to do our own. So there you go. Woo! Can you see it? Can you see the Judi Watson inside there? I had to do my own. So yeah, I've had that for absolutely years. And bearing in mind, I was secretary to the Quilters Guild before Tristan was born, and he's 35 this year. That is absolutely, can you see the top? When I iron it, that point will be absolutely perfect. So I am going to turn you off. I am going to join the rest of these together, and I am going to sew down these, because guess what? I did these the wrong way around as well. So I'm going to join those together, and I shall be back with you very, very shortly. Right then, so I have had quite a busy sewing afternoon. I have made some notes in my book for tomorrow, which I'll come to tomorrow morning. But I wanted to show you that I had finished these curved flying geese the wrong way around. Now, I know some people are saying they're worried about what fabric to use. You just have to trial and error, and I went wrong, because obviously these should be the other way around. But just to make it more interesting, not only did I do that mistake once, I managed to do it twice. I got the wrong colour. The white and the blue should have been reversed. But as it happened, I really like that. Now that is the block of the month, so that's the once a month one. Now this month they've given us 4 of those long things to do. So I've done 2 and I've got 2 more to do. But the week 8, because I'm ahead with the block of the week one, I've played around with the fabrics and I have not used any sewing themed ones, and I've gone oranges. What do you think? So the little squares in the middle really pop out, so I'm really pleased with that. And just now, just when I hold it up, I'm just going to put in a little bit of video where it shows how I matched the lines here and in the middle to ensure that I got these vertical lines to join up. Because when you're doing your patchwork, it's so important that these lines join up, because you don't want them to be off, because that would mean that this orange line here, if it was off, could be over here, and that one would be out there. And these things do stand out. Similarly in the middle, you need these vertical lines to match up. One of the things I've said to people is that redoing the patchwork, it's really good for improving your accuracy in amongst your little bits of your dressmaking sewing. So I'm in the middle of doing my Frida blouse, and I haven't done any more in this past week because I've been busy doing a piece of secret sewing. And I have got to put the collar onto the actual body of the blouse. But because I've been fiddling around getting lines joined up vertically and horizontally, that reinforcement of those skills of accuracy in your sewing, I will be able to follow that through into my dressmaking. So it's just like a reaffirmation of my skills. So it is worth doing it. So moving forward into next week, the Frida blouse is something that I really, really want to get finished. I've also started to print out let me lean over for this one, the Envie instructions. Now, if you saw my last vlog, I'll put a card up here, which was the unboxing of box 36 from Beyond the Pink Door. This is the pattern I mentioned right at the very end, and it is by Coralie Bijasson Patterns. I'll put a link in the description box below. But can you see all those different options in one pattern? So you've got a sleeveless sun top, you've got tops with sleeves in, you've got long sleeves, short sleeves, tunic length, dress length, you've got sleeveless dress, sleeveless tunic, so many. It was €9.90, it worked out to £8.67 for me to buy that. And I am absolutely delighted with it. That pattern is going to give me so many options to work with jersey. And also because it's got a knot feature here, that feature there at the neck, at the bust, that is going to be something else to hone in those jersey skills I talked about in the Raglan Sleeve pattern vlog. Again, I'll put a link in the description box below. And finally, before I go, I want to show you that I have been doing the embroidery. Now, I am a bit behind because I ordered a magnifying glass. I decided to order a second magnifying glass, and I'm sending it back to Amazon because it wasn't a magnifying glass, it was a magnifying plastic. And it was just awful to use. It was just too big for me. And it just was out here and I just couldn't get my eyes to work. So I am running a little behind. I've got my notes here. I'm up to the 10th of February, and the last one I did was a box, pink box, number 36. So I had a television day last weekend, so I've got a television. I've got my computer. I've got my Castle Howard line. Oh yeah, we had a windy day, so I've got a windy cloud there. I've got, that's a tree with a paw because I met a lovely friend for a walk in the woods last week. Oh, so that is where I'm at the moment. I've got lots more to put on the embroidery, and that's what I'm going to do tonight when I've edited this vlog. And I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you've not subscribed, click the thingy down here somewhere and leave me a comment. That's a comment box. And give me a thumbs up. And I better tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a toaster. It's a bit big for me, but it's a toaster that I like, and it's nice and comfy, and it's a fabric that I've made this years ago. I think I got this one in Bugweeds. So for now, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you all tomorrow.